Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to Spilling Tea. I don't know out of all the folks I sent the link to who's going to be by and who's not, but I figured we'd go ahead and come live. We have Phantasmagorical with us,
Hi.
right? We won't be doing this solo, so let's see who's here. Hello, Planet Q Queen. Thank you for coming. And yeah, always drop those links for me if you don't mind. I appreciate it. Thank you for being thoughtful enough to go ahead and drop those. Hello, Sean B. We have Justice for Depp. Hello, hello. All right, who else do we got here? Oh, and we have Annie, who's just kind of lurking. We have Linda. Hi, Linda. Don't worry about it. It happens to us all. All right, so we managed to get a few in here even on a holiday. That's impressive. Thank you guys so much for coming. I appreciate it. So you guys know the rules with these chats. They're always open. I never try to control these streams because it's kind of completely impossible to be able to do so. So this chat is controlled by you guys, whatever you would like to talk about. JD versus AH, if you want to know more about what I am doing in regards to the JRC, you want to talk about autism, ABA, you want to talk about music, it's all up to you guys. So everybody in the chat, how are you doing today? Oh, and hi, Janie. Thank you for coming. Oh, I guess I'll start with you, Phantasmagorical, since everybody's kind of still greeting each other in the chat. What have you been up to today?
Not much at all. I haven't been up very long.
Well,
I woke up.
I've been up since 4 a.m., so I'm kind of envious. I'm getting used to having to get up early because when I do start the Wayfair work from home, it's supposed to be an 8 to 4:30 shift, but since I'm working off of East Coast time, it's actually going to be more along the lines of a 7 a.m. shift. And I always, like the exerciseaholic I am, exercise in the mornings before I start getting ready. So I'm kind of half awake.
Well, when you were getting up, I was probably laying down, so my days are all messed up right now.
I get it. Hey, humility first. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Oh, and Captain Obvious. Hey, thank you for coming. Oh, there we go. And hi, Romer. Thank you for coming as well.
Romer.
Romer's talking about the judge. I told you all, this is an ex-Marine. This is a no-nonsense type of gal. And I told you that she was going to piss off this judge. And, of course, I ended up being right. She just continues to make herself look ridiculous. If she really thinks this judge is going to dismiss the case based on a verdict in another country that didn't even actually really involve her, I think she's going to be in for a very rude awakening. Now, in regards with the LAPD thing, I looked at the articles, and the ones who are saying the LAPD are not investigating her are all coming from her lawyer. So I don't know that I buy it. Now, as regards like, well, they never investigated perjury before, I call bullshit. I'm afraid I have to call bullshit. It's LA, and you're really going to tell me they've never, ever investigated perjury in LA? Excuse me? Really?
I think it
That
kind of all links together, you know,
I may
false
do
reports
some
and perjury.
I'm gonna do some digging because I bet you I can find other times where they've investigated perjury. I don't buy this whole idea that they never do that. Are you kidding me? With all the high end people out in that area, and you're going to tell me, Miss Lawyer, that they don't investigate perjury at LAPD at all? Seriously? Seriously. Oh, Planet Q, they have investigated perjury before. Well, if you have more information on that, Planet Q, you can DM it to me or we can talk about it on here. Either way, I'd be interested in hearing it because I would love to give lie to her words. I'm not going to take as a fact that they're not investigating her when the only one who's saying it is her damn lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally going to take her word for it. Ah, here we are. Hey,
Well, hello.
Zod.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Dog.
Not too bad. So I was just talking about they're trying to pass off now, Zod, that AH is not being investigated by the LAPD. But when you do some digging on it and you take a look at the articles, the people who are saying it is her lawyer. Her lawyer is the one saying she's not being investigated by the LAPD, and people are just taking it as fact and getting mad that there's supposed false reporting on YouTube about it. And now, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to trust anything that's coming out of her lawyer's mouth
Well,
without any
I've
corroboration.
seen some articles floating around about this. Why I have chose to not say anything is because I think that uh, I don't necessarily think that it's the LAPD, like the police officers. I'm looking more into the FBI thing that's going on, and that was started by Australia. But I don't know if the LAPD necessarily will do an independent investigation because uh, when the police were called and she put in her statement or anything and all of that, um, someone would have to initiate this investigation on Johnny's side, or somebody else who was pissy about it would have to actually uh, initiate that kind of an investigation into her claims. I do, however, think that what they're saying or what people might be misinterpreting is that when this goes to court, it's going to be pointed out that they were called and the validity of the claim is going to be brought into question because of the fact that they came, as you have to with this domestic violence, any of these claims, they have
Right.
to be material witnesses in court, especially considering this is an attack on Amber's credibility, which Johnny Depp is bringing up, pulling up the ACLU and stuff like that. But an independent investigation would have to be by the Los Angeles Police Department itself, the LAPD. And I don't honestly see them doing a separate investigation into her. I don't
I
know the
don't know,
reason.
and I'm going to tell you why.
I think I think
She poked the bear with the LAPD when she wanted to go digging through those cops' records. I don't think that they took too kindly to that. So I
yeah, but
do.
I don't think they've launched an investigation because it's a lot of paperwork. The LAPD is already going through some shit. Them filing an independent investigation, it would have to imply that they want to bring criminal charges. For them to do that, there would have to be more of a basis. Like, say she goes to court and she perjures herself, right? And the
Mhm.
judge catches that. Then the courts would, in fact, or the courtroom or whoever would initiate an investigation to that. And that would be a state, federal kind of a level. The
True.
LAPD only would go after somebody if somebody within the department themselves initiates the investigation, and I don't believe that they will, I don't think she's going to have the LAPD filing anything against her. I honestly think that it's something along the lines of this is evidence to court, and that people are taking it as, oh, they're investigating her. I think it's, oh, the LAPD is a witness in this trial, and the tapes, those are going to go to court. See, this is the problem I have with a lot of YouTubers, is that they're spinning this and various other things, and they don't dig, and they don't try to get the context of what's going on. So I agree in one sense that, yes, a lot of YouTubers, I mean, let's be real. I'm a content creator, and I'll be the first one to tell you, a lot of YouTubers perpetuate this shit and make those thumbnails to get people to watch. That's what they do. But within that, I do think that they approach an angle where they put this stuff out there, and I don't want to attack anybody's credibility or whatever, but the way that they spin it, they're not spinning it how it's being read. Like, for instance, with Umbrella Guy, right? He's the best, Tug. He's the best example to use. He brings up documents and things that he's citing from, right? So you can see the documents, and
I tend to do the same thing. Yeah.
With this coming out, I haven't seen anybody make a video with a document saying that the LAPD themselves initiated this. There would be a document. There'd be a document saying
a court filing. Yeah, Laura B would have been on it in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, and that's what I think it is. I'm not going to say people are lying. But I think it's more of a people jumping onto things without getting
maybe
all of
using incorrect words, kind of like when everyone was saying he's suing the ACLU when what he was doing was filing a motion to compel, which is not the same thing at all.
Exactly, Tiffany. Exactly. This is a mixture of the YouTube world and reporting stuff, is that people will jump on something and they won't get context. And it's not to say that everything, we've all seen it, I proved it on my channels. It's not to say that everything a article says is gospel, but there is a majority, or there is a thing where they'll take the article and twist it to how they want to, where they think that they'll get more views. Because what's more sexy, the Johnny Depp subpoenas ACLU for files, or Johnny Depp suing ACLU, right? They're both kind of the same, to very separate contexts. Even the wording is very different. When you say sue as opposed to subpoena, those are two very different words with very different contexts, and you're going to get a lot more people with the first one because they go, oh, crap, Johnny Depp is taking the ACLU to court. Well, no, he's not taking them to court. He got a court order for their files. And this is the thing, and why I like streaming with you guys, is because there is a group and a section out there that will do shit like this. You guys can look it up. There's 15 videos, some other people I know, and things like that. And I go in the comment section, I go, hey, guys, come on. Like, this isn't, he's not suing anyone. It's a subpoena. And I explain, and that, but they're all like, oh, well, I'm trying to get the clicks. But yeah, but when you blatantly change views like that, or words, like you say on your channel with your segments, spilling the tea, words have different contexts. They have different meanings.
Yeah, they do.
Words have differences. So no, I don't think the LAPD is taking her to court. I do, and I think that's what the lawyer might be saying. I do think that they are being summoned to appear in court as witnesses with the body cam footage. And I think people are running with the LAPD is suing Amber Heard. They don't got fucking time for that. Are you kidding me? They don't have time to wait. They can't even put fucking OJ away for being in a Bronco with an amount of evidence that should have damn near. No, the cops messed that up. So these are the same officers who are going to bring up a suit. I don't think so. I think it's being misread.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And I don't really know one way or the other. I just know I don't trust her lawyer.
I mean, yeah. Well, see, here's the thing, Tiffany. When you said the lawyer came out, her lawyer's a dumbass. So
yeah,
it does. It has
not the
less
brightest
credibility. As much as I hate to agree with what she is coming out with, I understand the context she's saying, but she's very terrible, as we saw with her basically outing Amber Heard about the donations. Like, she is terrible. Like, honestly, her legal team should not talk to the press. They should not. She's absolutely terrible.
When she went off about this misinformation is going to make Depp supporters violent. Like, honey, I have a lot on my freaking caseload. I don't have the time or the energy to actually muster up enough energy to go over there and go confront AH. I've got bigger fish to fry.
I'm trying to figure out video software. I don't got time to mess with this bitch.
Right? As far as I'm concerned, she already has the worst person in her corner herself. Even say the worst happens and everything goes in her favor in regards to the court, it's still not going to matter. She is one of the most self-destructive actresses I've ever seen. And the way she's backing up Eve Barlow right now, with all these people going free Palestine and Eve Barlow going off on her Zionist, she's going off on her rants, and Heard is backing her, and she is getting a lot of backlash from that. She's her own worst enemy, is all I'm saying. She's going to crash her career with or without his help.
I have to say, if you guys don't know, I'm sorry my videos aren't up yet. I got 2 videos actually I'm currently working on. Editing is a son of a bitch. On the computer, it looks a lot crisp and clean, but when you actually go into edit shit, I am like, there's all of these buttons and effects and stuff, and you know how you get tempted and you go, ooh, shiny. So I'm like, and then I'll fuck it up and have to start over again because I don't know how to go into the part of the clip. It's not like my phone. Everything was much more simple. So I apologize. It's coming. But I looked up this movie, and there is another movie Amber Heard is coming out with. I wouldn't say Amber Heard is necessarily the star. I'd say it's more Terrence Howard and a couple of other people. But there's this movie called Gully, something like that.
Yeah.
I have like zero interest.
I have a trailer reaction coming out, and now I'd like to say there are more problems to this movie than Amber Heard. When I first saw it, what jumped out to me, because everyone was like, oh, check out this video, because, you know, it's down the downvotes, and I looked, and my initial reaction is not to the fact that she's in it, and she's clearly trying for some kind of awards for this one, you know, independent, premiered in the Tribeca Film Festival, all that bullshit that no one cares about. But I was looking at the premise, and it seems like one of these social justice bullshit things. It's like a group of kids from the inner city, woe is me, so I go on a 48-hour murder spree. And I'm looking at the premise going, I would see this just to point out this is the type of movie I would have on my channel that I would review to point out not necessarily how bad it is, not Amber Heard, but the messaging of this movie. It's very clear to me what they're going for, and it's the whole the struggle of the inner city kids, and they're forced into this thing where they go and they have to murder the rich white people because white people are evil. That kind of a vibe. And then they threw Amber Heard into it, which, that really helps the cause for the movie. And I looked, and the video has like 500 likes and 50,000 dislikes. I was like, holy shit. That is epic. I didn't even hear about this. 50,000 people downvoted, which I downvoted it, by the way. 50,000 people downvoted this before I even heard about it.
Here is what I don't get. Now, to play devil's advocate, you can be very angry with the police. You can get angry when a man is wrongfully killed. All of us were mad when we saw that George Floyd video. All of us. All of us were. But on the same end, you are essentially wanting to, and we face it in the autistic community all the time, call every single police officer a monster.
Yeah.
These guys put their lives on the line. Sometimes they die in shootouts. Sometimes they die in fires trying to carry out kids. I know this because my dad was a cop and he told me about this. Why are we going to the extreme of defunding the police and removing all protection, not just from white people, but from all people at all, period, so that you can be rah-rah, defund the police? But what happens when no one picks up when you call 911 and there's a robber in your house? Or some deranged person broke into your house and is trying to steal your kid? Or somebody comes in and tries to rape you and there's nobody at the end of the line because you were fighting to defund the police? Why isn't there more push for a way to weed out the bad cops, weed out the racists, the anti-female cops, the anti-disability cops, weed them out, get them out of the service? For the love of God, start hiring better quality officers, and maybe that might be a better solution than throwing out the baby with the bathwater.
And here's the thing about this argument that I hate, because I just got done before this, thank goodness, I finally finished Patriots Day. And I actually finished it this morning. Bitchy watched it with me and wanted to do a live review. And I'm like, no, we're doing Cruella and I need to save up my energy for that. But, I watched this movie and I go, this event happened in 2013. The film was made in 2016. How fucking quickly we forget that without the officers that were on scene there, a hell of a lot more people would have died. It would have been far worse. Also, given too that the two terrorists were a bunch of fucking idiots and they put the bomb low to the ground, thank God. So that blast would have been worse if they would have had it slightly higher up or on a table. But it's a really funny ebb and flow, because when you look at the fact that they get praised for this 9/11, the officers, the firemen, everybody.
I was gonna say, all those cops who ended up losing their lives. And if you remember back then, everybody was praising the cops, praising the fire department, these selfless people that went into those burning buildings. And now you want to call all of them responsible, call them all monsters. That's what gets on my last nerve.
I know it's really sickening. I was watching this, and I'll have that review out soon. Like I said, new editing software. Good God, I mean, like, I'm not on camera because my eyes are literally like droopy. I've been sitting here for hours staring at a screen. But with that, it's like I look at that, and then I look at what happened, and look. Here's the thing. Since the fucking days of Al Capone, you have always had police officers who were on the take, who were corrupt, who were immoral. Elliot Ness and the Untouchables were formed on the premise that Al Capone basically owed all of the fucking police department, right up probably to FBI and shit like that. He was untouchable because he had all of these people in his pocket. And, to sit here and condemn everybody for the actions of a couple of people, but that's the year we're in, right? And the funny part
Yeah.
is, I know this is going to be a hot take, but we really need some shit to happen because these little whiny fucking bitching SJW little pansies, they aren't going to see the value of these services until shit happens. Unfortunately, it takes something to happen where you see a fucking police officer rushing in and saving people's lives with no regard to theirs. And I didn't realize something, and thank you, Planet's Q, Queen, because it brought back a lot of stuff because I remember that story. I mean, you had these fucking guys got into a firefight in the middle of the street with a terrorist who was lobbing fucking pipe bombs at police officers. 2 fucking officers held off these crazy bastards until backup got there. They were injured. They still fucking fired their guns, and then they took them down. And both of them, they finally cornered them in this town of Watertown. And it was 2 people who were badly fucking injured. One officer was shot point blank range in the face by one of these guys, and in the chest several times. It was brutal. It was fucking terrible. And people seem to forget this shit. Like, these are the guys, they literally put their lives on in the middle of a block in a neighborhood to protect people, to make sure these dangerous people with explosives and bad intentions didn't get away. But yet we paint this picture of all of these cops like assholes because we catch a cop on a bad day, we catch the one asshole who might say something wrong, or the fact that they're nervous.
Like every system, you find those who fall through the cracks. There are racist cops. That's just a fact. My dad had to deal with them out of his office when I was a kid. There was a lot of those good old boy cops because we're talking Pierce City here. And we're talking in the 80s. So good old boy cops, he complained about them all the time. Granted, you have those assholes. But here's reality about life. There's assholes in every single profession. There is racists in every single profession. Are you going to basically call every single profession bad and paint every single person who's in that profession bad because one racist, I'm sorry, YouTube, you can strike this if you want to, but because one racist fuck in one office has a certain profession and he gets caught doing something terrible, are we then going to paint every single person who has that same profession with the same brush as that guy? It makes no logical, coherent sense.
Well, do you remember when the Floyd thing first happened and all the people like in LA or whatever, defund the police, and what's her name from Who's the Boss? What's her name? Melissa something?
Oh, I know the one you're talking about,
Yeah.
Alyssa Milano.
Yeah, and she called for defunding. Well, there was a guy around her property with a gun. Guess who she called? The
fucking
police.
police.
And it turned out to be like a teenager with a BB gun or something. But he's trying to kill me. But she called the police. So I don't get it either. People are stupid. It's the only thing I can come up with.
This is the thing, and someone said it best. I guess I think it was Romer or someone that said that there is people who are bad and good in every profession. I ran across assholes in the service. I had drill instructors and people who abused their power all the time. There was blatant racism. I'm not going to be shy. I'll tell you, I had a drill instructor who was black, and he was harder on the white people in the unit. That Did I bitch? Did I complain about it? No. He took it easy on some people and was harder on others. But at the end of the day, though, if I had to go to war with this man, it doesn't matter the color of our skin. He would have took a bullet for me.
Yeah.
He had a naturally inherent bias, but he did his job. And at the end of the day, when it came down to it, he would still take a bullet for you, and he didn't give a shit what color of skin you were. It was just everyday, like, work duties, things like that. You could tell there was a bit of a bias there. He didn't openly say it, but there was some conversations. But I never held that against him. I was like, hey, man, whatever. People have biases. People have racisms. And everyone who is out there and tell me you don't have some kind of inherent bias towards a group of people, I'm sorry, but you're full of shit. Everybody has inherent biases. It's part of being human. But the bigger question is if that inherent bias you have directly hurts or affects the performance of your job. Unfortunately, there are people who it does, and those people, we should absolutely positively get them out because they're putting people's lives at risk. Yes, you should remove them. But the problem is now you're painting everybody in broad strokes. And I notice how everyone caught on camera is always a particular kind of officer on a particular kind of day. Why aren't we catching the cops who are fucking helping somebody out or find a child, or the officers who go in and they bust drug dens and they get or what about the guy who answers domestic dispute calls and gets the abused party out of there? Why aren't we videotaping these guys? Oh, that's right, because we're in 2021 and we're a bunch of fucking pansies. So we only want to get the bad part in everything, right? We don't want to highlight the triumphs evermore. Remember on the news when they used to show some shit like that? They'd even show a fireman getting a cat out of a pipe or up a fucking tree.
Oh, yeah, on the local news. They still do it. I live in the Bible Belt. They still do that shit. I lived with a friend. I was kind of simmy downtown, right? And there was a bunch of cops suddenly across the street. And we were like, what the hell is going on? And then my roommate at the time, she went out the door and she's like, oh my God, there's like 5 cop cars out there. And they're all trying me out to a cat caught in a tree. and then there was a news van that started to come down to the other side of the street, and they were starting to interview the cat owners. I'm like, oh my God.
And Janie Davis, I like to answer this because Janie, I completely understand what you're saying, and I totally agree with you that yes, cops should have guns. They have the ability to use lethal force, and look. It's no different than what I have. I could shoot automatic weapons. Pretty much, I could shoot a 9mm, an M16, a 50 cal from a ship, a rocket launcher, a grenade launcher. I can make and dismantle different things that I won't say because I don't want you to get hit. But yes, I have all of those skills.
Just say I know because I am an Army brat. My brother's a veteran. I probably have a good idea.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. But here's the thing, Janie. It's not the argument of acknowledging the bad off. It's the putting all officers into the same group. And that's what they're doing. And that too is dangerous. It's very dangerous because it sends a message to the public to disobey the rule of law, which leads to cops getting very nervous, which leads to more incidents, as we've seen. When you do this kind of thing, you make it hard for the cops because now they don't know what to do, how much actions they should use. Everything's being recorded, everything's being watched, and someone's going to fuck up just because they have that kind of pressure. And I know what everyone's going to say. Well, they're trained for that. Yes, there's a difference between being trained for it and not being able to do your fucking job because you're afraid that some asshole with a fucking Twitter account or a fucking Twitch account is recording you out of context. It's hard to balance that. And look, I know the asshole end of it, because I lived in New York. If you think I didn't get harassed or profiled because of the group of people I choose to align myself with, I was profiled. I got harassed. I got put into a group just because I hung around and knew someone from this block or that block. I completely understand what everybody says when they talk about those kinds of cops. But to be fair, I put myself in that situation. I hung out with those people. I know the consequences of my actions. Just like if you do that shit, you should know the kind of reputation you're going to have. That's not profiling. That's any kind of assessment that they do. What do cops analyze? Who do you hang out with? What affiliations do you have? Who's your company you keep? You
Okay,
know?
I'm going to go ahead and answer this one, Janie. What we see is not necessarily what's going on. The media is going to pummel you with images of cops disrespecting people of color. This is a fact. They will run on it day in and day out. They're going to blow it up, and basically there are problems going on. I'm not going to say that there are, but the media wants to sensationalize it. They want you to
Exactly.
believe and be afraid of these cops. I don't know why, but it seems like there's trying to build a fear of cops. The fact of the matter is, they do show in the media, the disrespectful ones, like Mr. Zod said, there's always those assholes out there. But here's the question: why are they only showing the assholes? You always
Exactly.
got to ask yourself the question: are you trying to tell me, media, that there's not a single good cop in the world? And remember, this is the same media that was falling all over themselves to praise the cops that rushed in to the first and second towers of the World Trade Centers. And then, but a handful of years later, all of a sudden, they are then just showing one side. When you
I
just
think
show one side, you are trying to make the public bias towards a narrative. If you want to be objective, you would show two sides. You would show the asshole cops, but you would also show the cops that work against cops like this, the cops that go in and talk with internal affairs in regards to cops that their prejudices are putting lives in danger. There are checks and balances that the media never freaking talks about that are all internal.
Oh yeah, yeah. They won't tell you that, and I'll give you guys a perfect example. Yes, I know this is the military, but I got the perfect story because this involves me and my unit, and I'm not going to tell you which unit or who or where exactly you can find it because of reasons. Uh, but I can tell you it is out there, and there's a point in the war where people started being less favorable towards the troops. There was a particular story
Oh
where
God, I
they
remember that. I got
you
so angry. Go ahead.
yeah, you know where I'm going with this. They accused of a unit I knew very well, and I knew exactly what the situation was. The fucking media edited this tape, and they made it look like soldiers fired on an unarmed 13-year-old kid who was in the square minding his business, not doing anything. What came out later, and you can track this, the media had to retract it and issue an apology, which they did in a fucking very small byline, and it barely ran. But they cut the video on what they didn't show you was the kid had an AK in his hand. He had raised it at the groups of troops, and someone had yelled to drop his weapon, and he refused, and the soldiers opened fire on him. I do not disagree with this action. It's one of the fucking hardest choices that anyone has to make. I personally was put in this kind of situation, and the way the media cut it, there were so many people when this particular unit came back that they called a child killer, and they called some of the soldiers
Oh
women
yeah,
killers,
baby
children
killers.
killers,
They walk.
baby
When
killers.
I
Yep.
have people walking out, when I was out with my brother and he was just wearing his fatigues, he was on a brief break from Fort Hood, and it wasn't long before the shooting there, by the way. And he had somebody come up and to his face call him a baby killer. Like I have subtle anger issues, okay? You do not go up to someone who is willing to volunteer to put their life on the freaking line, and it's somebody you don't even know who's never been in the news before, and you're going to walk up to him when he's there with his family and call him a baby killer.
Yeah.
God, I hate people.
I mean, and that was. I knew I knew these people. I fucking knew that unit. You know who I'm talking about, Tiffany, because you know the story I'm talking about. I knew those people in that unit. I read the fucking briefing. I knew what happened. And because of the nature of what we do, we can't release that information to the public. But the scumbag pieces of shit that did the reporting on that, I personally think they should be fucking hung in a square, because the way that they edited and cut that video and they promoted it as if we were there for too long. And what it came down to was it was all of an agenda. Oh, we've got to get the people out. The soldiers are breaking. They're taking things out of context. They're being bullies. And it's like, no, if you guys go to Kandahar or any of the other places within Afghanistan, Pakistan, Israel, all of that stuff, if you go into anywhere in the Middle East where those kind of conflicts are going on, we were there for how many years and not a fucking thing is solved. I'm sorry to say, I hate to be bleak and put it like that, but not a fucking
But it's just a
has been
fact.
resolved.
It's a fact. And they
who I
want to
feel
pull
bad for is
troops
those kids.
Mr. I want to end the war on terror. I'm like, yeah, that's going to end well. So you want all those troops to leave after. What's going to happen to that country afterwards? What do you think these people are going to do when we all leave?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Janie, thank you. You know, I got to give it to Janie Davis. I really like her comments, because I think it's always good to bring up both sides of an issue. It makes for good conversation.
Absolutely. Especially Janie is always respectful. She's always kind in her comments. She's not here to attack anyone when so many on social media are. I mean, I remember right after Fort Hood. See, I got home at 5 o'clock when that was happening, that November 5th. I had a late day. And then I come home and I turn on the TV, and then I hear the news. My brother was stationed there, and all of a sudden I'm hearing on the news, nobody calling me, telling me what was going on, that there was a mass shooting there. So I end up trying to call everybody. I called my mom, my grandma, my aunt, my uncle. Nobody was answering my calls. It was the scariest feeling in the world. It was because I didn't know if he could have been one of the people who got killed, because they were in lockdown. So fortunately, yes, about 11 o'clock at night, he called me. He ended up being okay. He wasn't okay mentally. He's still not, after what he had to see.
Who would be?
Yeah, he's got freaking PTSD from seeing those soldiers go down in the one place where they were supposed to be safe and not supposed to be in a combat zone on their own home base in their own country. But anyways, not long after the event, I went read news about it, and on social media, he went back and Obama did his speech, whatever. My brother wasn't impressed by the speech, by the way. He's still not. And when you have comments like, they deserved it, they're baby killers, and that's your family, that you were scared to death the entire time that it could have been them, and then you still feel for the ones that did lost their lives, and you have to hear that on social media by some stupid SJW who think they've gone and did something, who's never sacrificed a damn thing in their lives. Ooh, sorry, I got a little heated there.
It's okay.
Yeah. No,
It's
I
okay.
totally.
Romer, I didn't lose anybody, but
totally
yeah,
agree.
I want to correct Romer. My brother's fine. He did not die. He just has severe PTSD and a lot of anger issues due to watching his brothers get shot in front of him when they were on home soil, so to speak. And you don't hear a lot about it anymore. You hear about these other massacres all the time, but it's like they reported it for a short time and you don't hear about it anymore. You never hear about what happened with the guy or anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's just like there's a lot of things and these are delicate issues, but it's a lot of things to take into account when you tackle an issue like this. And unfortunately, and the whole point of our speech now is that the culture is focusing on the wrong things, and it's it's not just this. It's not as simple as just the police are bad. There's a lot of facets, but groups boil it down to that. And look, people can take it how you want to, but it's all fucking political. It's because they want to cut money from something. So they create bullshit so that they can cut money from something.
Or even if they're not creating it, they ultimately oversimplify it.
Oh no, some people blatantly create it. If you guys think all of those BLM, I'm peaceful. Hold on, I'm going on camera for this. I look like crap. Sorry, folks. Peaceful protests, targeted peaceful protests weren't a bunch of bullshit. I did a whole stream on this. You guys can look it up in my channel where we literally laid out documents and proofs that this was all targeted and paid for. And I hate to rain on the parade of anybody who's a fan of the BLM and think that they're for Black lives. They're not, because the fucking owner of it is a white girl who's the nastiest fucking vile person I've ever met. Their main contributor, the donor, the founder of it is a white chick from fucking Harvard who started this movement. So anybody who thinks that this is a righteous movement, it's a political sideshow. And it's because of this. And I've had Black friends of mine who've come up to me and I really want to interview them on my channel, just so it's not just me spouting off at the mouth and people are going, fuck, do you know about this? I know people who were in Milwaukee. Look it up. BLM shit happened there, and Chicago. I have good friends of mine who were pissed off because it happened and they couldn't get to work because these idiots were in front of everybody's vehicles while they were trying to go back, a matter of fact, to this factory I used to work at. And it's all a fucking show for a bigger reason, and it's sad. Because do I think we need to advocate for some rights? Yes, I do. Do I think that there is profiling? Fuck yes. I grew up in New York. I know people from LA. Hell yeah. There are a lot of people who don't get a chance because they're already profiled by the system of being a certain way. And they have to work really hard to make it. And much respect to them. But to make a blanket statement and call yourself this organization and use it as a way to cancel people, you hold no credibility. And the fact that people are giving this a fucking platform is even more sickening. PlayStation having BLM banners and fucking Xbox and the media and fucking celebrities endorsing this. All of you guys should be ashamed of yourself, because those peaceful protests, people lost their businesses, people got hurt, people got injured, and spoiler alert, some of them weren't white people. A lot of them had nothing to do with what was going on. They were innocent bystanders who happened to be walking through this.
I saw on YouTube there was an old cafe owner, an old black woman cafe owner.
I know what you're talking about.
You saw that rant?
Mm-hmm.
And they just utterly obliterated her business. Like, you mean you saw that there was rubble right out on the street out of her shop? All her windows were busted.
Yeah.
And Romer, yes, you are right. George Siros is involved, but there is another lady. I have to go back through my stream because Father Zod looked this up, but it's literally on their fucking website. You don't gotta believe me. Go to the BLM website and look at who the founding members are. This is public domain. It's not even hidden. They tell you all of the members and the head people in charge. And I looked at it and I was like, WTF. And there is nothing wrong with protesting at all. It is a right. It is in our Constitution. But what there is a problem with is when you are targeting certain things and it is for other reasons besides helping the cause, and you're doing it in a way that you know will lead to a violent response. They knew what was going to happen.
Yeah,
they knew they set it up that way.
It's exploitation. And
Romer's talking about Georgie Soros, so I have kind of a cute story. There are people, I call them martyr autism warrior mommies, is what I like to call them, or warrior daddies. People who insist people like me are not autistic at all. And they believe that the so-called spectrum is actually a lie. The neurodiversity movement is a lie. And that we are all getting paid by Georgie Soros. I'm like, oh, is that a fact? If that's true, he owes me about 13 years of back pay. Where's my check?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the saddest thing about this, and I agree with you, Gina Campbell, is most of the followers are like sheep following the latest fad or cause. Yeah, that's what it is.
It's become the new popular thing. Like when we were in school, it was bands, you had the preps, you had the jocks, the goths, the nerds, and basically the table that was the island of misfit toys. That's what we had.
And I don't know what's going on with my hair. I'm getting ready to see Cruella.
That's what basically in the 90s what people like Zod and I had in regards to our group when we were younger. Now we have people who are basically, I like to call them fake activists. And I call them fake activists because they have no idea what being a real activist means. The sacrifice, the footwork, the time. But they feel if they can create a hashtag and get it trending, that they've gone and done something, and they're an activist now. And look at all that. They started a hashtag, and all of a sudden they have all these friends.
They're activists.
Yep. And
what really gets me about this, to kind of add on to that, is that our culture is so fucking stupid now that I actually know. I work at the mall, so I talk with the younger crowd. God, I'm dating myself. I talk with the kids these days. And
no, I feel that. We're not old, John. We're not old yet, damn it.
We're rolling down that hill slowly, but
I call bullshit. We're young, damn it.
I talk to these kids and they eat this shit up. There is just people who catch these headlines and they believe the media's spin and they take this shit like it's I literally, during that stream, when we put that stream on, first off, that fucker got copyright claimed, and I had to battle to have it put back up. They fucking took the video down for a little bit, to be honest with you guys, because they said, oh, these were inaccurate facts, until I said, look at the fucking BLM website, and then tell me it's inaccurate, and then they re-uploaded my video and monetized it. But it's like, don't get mad at me because I'm going against the quota. But anyways, if you look at this, it's a targeted campaign. And here's the thing. If this was legitimate, why are you going after Xbox, PlayStation, and all that? Oh, because young gamers play on that. 15, 16-year-old kids are online. And when Xbox has to celebrate BLM on there, they go, oh, what's this? And they look into it, and they hear a crock of shit in all of these fucking articles. And of course, their claim to fame is the George Floyd, which, by the way, if you gave a shit about that case, where's the money you said you were going to donate to the Floyd family? Still waiting on that, you fucking pricks. But anyways,
no,
right?
So
that's their plan. Yeah, it's like Amber. That check is what Amber's check, somewhere in the fucking ether. But anyways,
kind of like Autism Speaks checks to actual families. They don't exist.
oh no, it's one of those things, where they send it in the mail and it never arrives to where it's going. It's just,
but it must have got lost. It's out in the ethos somewhere. For all these people who are supposedly supposed to be paying me, everyone from Johnny Depp to Georgie Soros, man, if I actually had these checks these people think I was getting, I'd probably have an island out somewhere by his, for God's sake.
Yes.
It's mind-boggling to me, and this is why I just don't cover JD, but I also talk about the woke culture specifically, because this is very dangerous. This is the most dangerous I've seen. When people can mislead people and get away with it, that is a very dangerous precedent. And I said this before, and I'll say it again till the end of time. The media has a responsibility, whether or not they want to admit or hide behind fucking journalism and journalistic integrity, which is fucking dead. They have a responsibility. They reach people that are just like, when you go to the theater, that guy who just brings their kid, they're supposed to reach them, and they're supposed to tell them the fucking truth. And when you have these people being paid blatantly, we've seen this a bunch of times, and they're telling straight up lies. Not even like innuendo, figure it out yourself, a fucking bold-faced lie. That is, we're in trouble. It's a serious thing. And I don't think people realize how serious it is, because
and when the media controls the news to the point that all we're seeing is this HJW bullshit. And then somehow stories like what I'm covering with the JRC are absolutely fucking buried. When there's real horrific crap going on and they don't report on it because there's a BLM protest in Portland, that's a problem.
How about the reporting of the BLM? Let's talk about that. Why is it they report only what they want to? Like, you ever notice how those are edited and you only see them maybe yelling stuff, and then there's that strange cut and we see the violence? Anyone find that interesting? That is called editing, and that's what we call in the entertainment industry as a jump cut, because they've cut shit in the middle of it to jump to certain scenes that they want to show. And in these jump cuts, they cut from like people just getting a little agitated to someone or a cop in the crowd twitching, and then the violence, and going, see, these people were peacefully protesting. They maybe shouted out a few things, but nothing happened. But what they didn't show you was the fucking guy who threw a brick at someone, and then they responded. They won't show that part, but they'll show you the part of, the cops going crazy and Mason gas
Uh,
and
I have a
chill.
story about some of what happened in Portland, by the way. But before I do, thank you, Cherry Cave, for putting that up. I really appreciate it.
Cherry.
Thank you. And if anybody wants to like save that and just keep it putting it up on all my lives, I very much support our veterans. I believe the fact that there's so many that are homeless who aren't getting help, who are getting treated like shit, and nobody reports on it is complete fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
So thank you for having that up. I appreciate it, Cherry.
Cherry's awesome.
In regards to what was going on in Portland, I have a friend in Portland, works for the Portland Police Department. And I won't give her name so no one can say I doxed her. And she sent out on Facebook that right as it was happening, it was nighttime, and they got barricaded in the police station, and they were setting the building on fire.
Oh
And-
yeah, I heard about that too. And you know, they did the same thing. There was a protest at a college campus. I forgot what campus it was, but it was a well-known one, and they showed the cops gassing and coming in with riot gear and platoning these supposed innocent college kids. Right. The part they didn't show you and they edited was the part where the kids had thrown gas, bricks, rocks, and shit at the fucking student buildings because somebody was talking there they didn't like. That wasn't the particular political figure that they wanted. And they started a fucking riot on the campus. And they made it look like these cops came in and they were paid by the opposing party and that they beat the shit out of these kids. And come to find out, all these college kids were throwing shit at the police officers and started wrecking the college campus. And the campus was the one who called the fucking police. And then they filmed it and they said the police officers took too much force towards the college kids. And I go, the irony of this whole entire situation is the fact that the campus is the same one that backtracked and said, oh yeah, the police force was excessive and they used too much. What they failed to tell is they said the kids could protest. When it got out of control, the little fucking campus security on site couldn't do shit about it. So the campus security called the real police. The real police got there when it was way too late to de-escalate and said, oh shit, we are not equipped to handle this and we don't want to shoot anybody. So they called in the TAC team to gas them and try to subdue them without having to shoot these fucking college kids. And watch the movie Safe Space, because this is, I believe it's Adam Carello. He narrates this and he shows this event and he shows the edited video and then he shows the unedited video. And he goes, now, this is what they ran on certain news stations and things like that. He goes, looks pretty bad. You know how he's funny. He goes, let me show you what really happened. And then he shows the actual clip of what really happened. And I was like, oh, shit. Because I heard about it and I said, man, that's messed up. The cops shouldn't do that. But then when you see what happened, they had cameras from, because there's cameras on campus. They had cameras from when it was starting, and you can see it going bad, and it was growing and growing. The crowds were getting more restless. There was more tension, and then boom, everything exploded. But no one talks about that. No,
they're talking about how everything in Portland was peaceful. Excuse me, explain that to my poor friend who was barricaded inside her police station, and they were trying to set the building on fire. Thankfully, everyone was okay, of course, but she ended up leaving the state for a little while until things were calmed down before she was willing to go back to work after that.
Yeah, it was It was bad. Like, and here's the other thing too. This woke shit is going to turn on people because if you guys don't know, I saw this movie Safe Space because I knew about this concept of safe spaces because they put this bullshit in my daughter's school. So I wanted to get
Oh
the
my
really
God.
cool. Oh
It
yeah.
reminded me of Foamy the Squirrel video that I will have to DM you later, Zod. It's made by another autistic kid, but he's kind of like internet famous on safe spaces, and he kind of goes on a level of rant that only you could probably truly appreciate. So I'll send it.
Like, so in my daughter's high school they call it a meditation space or some fucking stupid hippie bullshit, but I'm like, cool, whatever, you want to give a place for kids to decompress, I'm down for that. My daughter has anxiety and suffers from some stuff, so okay, cool. But when I saw what they were doing in colleges, now supposedly these safe spaces are where you can have discussions in this like little circle thing. And if someone has an opposing view about race or gender or something like that, you're supposed to be able to talk in this safe space with the opposing view. The irony is nobody's fucking safe in these spaces. One person talks. They scream, they yell, they shout, they spit. They damn near do everything but punch the people. And from what I gathered, if you have the wrong side of the opinion, you don't even get heard. And I'm like, so why the fuck is this a safe space? If you're allowed to give your view and I'm not allowed to say anything, but yes, I agree, then how is this a balanced conversation? How is this a safe space if I can't put out my view, even if it's opposite of yours and it counters your argument? Yeah.
Freedom of speech is dying.
And let's talk about that, because Zod and I have both talked about that lacrosse team many moons ago.
That was terrible. That was so
when
bad.
That girl said that she was gang raped by those lacrosse players. And just like with they're doing AH, they're doing it to Johnny Depp right now, the same thing that they did to those lacrosse players all those years ago. And so they were basically brought up on charges. They were featured front page on Rolling Stone. All the major news outlets were all on the side of this girl. And as the court case goes on, you find out actually she lied. Not a single lacrosse player that she accused actually did anything to her. But these boys lost their scholarships. They lost their reputations. They have had difficulties in getting jobs. And she, to this day, has not suffered any consequences for false report of rape. Yet these guys have to live with the consequences of her lie for the rest of their lives. And AH is just simply another example of somebody doing that. She's part of a far larger problem.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
have a story in line with that. My brother, we went out for New Year's Eve one year, and we all met at this bar, you know, and we started missing my brother and my cousin's wife. Well, things happened, but in order for her husband, who is my cousin, not to leave her or whatever, she made up this whole story about how my brother RAP'd her, RAPED'd her. And he was put on the local, he was put on the local news on television, his picture there. Well, come to find out, she recanted, and she only accused him out of fear and all this. Do you think they ran a story talking about how, she made it up and he didn't do this and that? No, it got like 2 lines in the newspaper. That was it.
Well, yeah, the retraction is always smaller than the story. You got to go to fucking page 10 and look at in the bottom of corner Z, underneath the fucking funnies. It It's so disgusting. The media is so disgusting. They can't even admit when they're wrong. And I'm sorry to hear that. That is terrible because
Well, it was
uh,
years ago, but it's calmed down and everything now. But at the time, you see him on television, and you're like, "Oh my God," you know. But then they just don't cover it when it was come out to be false, And she suffered no consequences.
And a reason why so many people are following JD versus AH. Everybody thinks it's about celebrity culture, but it's not. For the
No.
first time, there's this guy who has the backing behind him, the money behind him, and quite frankly, loyal fans and supporters behind them that is dragging all this ugliness out into the light of day and forcing people to look at it. The media can't forget his side because the fans and the supporters, we're not going to let them forget. If he wins and they don't retract, they're going to have millions of people bugging them every single day.
they're not. Look, here's the thing. I am totally optimistic, but one thing I'm not optimistic about is the media. They won't ever retract. They'll scale back and they'll start covering heavily. And you'll see a bunch of stories talking about, I could see the headlines now. Johnny Depp vindicated, career saved, and blah, blah, blah. But I'll give you another story that no one ever talks about. And this happened recently. You guys remember Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt? You guys know what happened in the story? He was fucking innocent. He fucking lost his kids. And why did he lose his kids? Because she claimed he abused them, had the kids lie. And then when the courts did a mediated chat with the kids and they had the parents leave the room like they should have fucking done in the first place, and they talked to the kids said that mommy told them to lie. You fucking piece of shit. And I'll never watch another Angelina Jolie movie again. But oh yeah, she used the hashtag Me Too. She threw Brad underneath the bus for shit he didn't do. And guess what? Just recently, because I read a fucking article about it, just recently he got the right to his kids. He got fucking custody. How fucking broken is the system that
it's 50
now
50
got
custody from what I've heard, but yeah. And
I mean,
most of my town, because he went to high school here out in Springfield, Missouri. He went to Kickapoo High School. And most of this entire damn city has been behind him the entire time. Nobody over here has been on her side at all.
Yeah, it was disgusting because I've liked Angelina Jolie. I followed her career, but I've always known because of the whole Billy Bob Thornton thing and various other things that have come out, and the fact that John Voight doesn't talk to her. There's a fucking reason for that. This bitch is crazy. And the only mistake I blame Brad for is you left Jennifer Aniston. You left Jennifer Aniston for her. I can't, for the life of me, figure out that choice. But okay, Hollywood shit happens.
Well, it broke down that he wanted kids and she didn't.
Yeah, which I mean, I think in hindsight, maybe now, from rumors and things I've heard, she might have changed her mind about that. Who knows? I do
know they were getting friendlier towards the end of his relationship with Jolie, and there was the tabloids kept saying, Jolie jealous that he still talks to Aniston. I'm like, well, they were fucking friends first. And and they remained friends afterwards. It's from everything I've heard. They still run that production company together.
Yeah. It was really crazy because that didn't come out. This thing with them destroying Kevin Spacey. This court case, and look, there's a lot of weird things behind it too. I don't believe he's not 100% complicit in covering some shit up, but I don't really blame him because the optics doesn't look good. But there's a lot of shit that's come out where it's looking like these allegations aren't true. And as a matter of fact, a court out of, I think, 20 or some different claims in like 2 or 3 different cases, 2 of the cases got dropped. And one is only being litigated, which signals to me that there was no fucking evidence. And one of the people who was a witness to Kevin supposedly molesting him not only recanted their statement but committed suicide. And the theory is that he was being pressured to say this shit. So I don't know who Kevin pissed off in the upper echelon of Hollywood, but I'm starting to get the feeling like he pissed someone off really big, and then all of a sudden, because he's gay and maybe he liked younger guys, they tried to use that to bury him, and they did. They fucking destroyed.
One of the worst cases of the media destroying a life is Michael Jackson. My God.
Oh yeah, Michael Jackson. There's no proof there either. Yeah,
they crucified him for years. But everybody knows about Michael Jackson. Like, even when I was a kid, they made up that horrible rhyme about him when I was still in middle school, high school. And they crucified him. And we're talking way before cancel culture was a thing. He was all over the news, and they kept calling him a pedophile and all of these things. And then years later, after the man dies, all of a sudden you find out at least one of the kids lied. His estate actually manages to win the lawsuit and prove that many of the allegations were false. And basically the media was complicit in stressing that guy out to the point that he was using medical freaking drugs that most people use to be put out during surgery just to be able to sleep. And I'm sorry, part of that I blame the media for, because they raked him through the coals from the 90s and continuing all the way up until the day he died.
They're still doing it. They still are doing it. There's this person I follow on Twitter, and she's a huge fan of Michael Jackson and has pictures with him and things like that. And I talked to her back and forth, and she was bringing out all of this stuff, talking about it. And after the documentary came out, they wanted to pull the documentary because they were like, there was stuff in it that wasn't true. And basically the documentary showed a lot of different proof on how he didn't do any of this stuff. Now, look, I'm not going to 100% glorify him and say it isn't fucking weird that he had a fucking park in his mansion and all the other
Neverland.
Shit.
There's a lot of people who believe, because we all know what Joe Jackson did to him as a freaking kid. There was obviously some mental issues there. There may have been a neurodevelopmental disability there. There are those who have such severe PTSD that they revert back to childhood. They revert back to what feels safe. That's an actual medical condition, and it wouldn't surprise me if that's what happened to him. He was trying to relive the childhood he didn't get to have.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree, and I could totally back that up 100% because of the shit that he had. I don't believe in any way that he saw what he was doing as unusual. I think in his mind, he just wanted to hang out with these kids and have them have fun at his house. I mean, some of the shit he did was a little weird, but when you look at his life and put context into why these things were happening, it kind of makes more sense. And I believe someone else, I don't know who said it, but what about the fucking parents who let their kids stay with a grown-ass man overnight? I'm sorry. You guys are just fucking responsible. I would never. Look, my daughter's 14 now, but still, I would never let my daughter stay anywhere unless I met the family. I talk to them. I know who these people are. Where is she going to sleep? All this stuff. Damn sure wouldn't let her spend the night over at a boy's house. None of that stuff, because I have a responsibility. So I would ask the parents, why the fuck are you letting a grown ass man, take your kids in this fucking play thing and you're not fucking watching them? That's just like you want something to happen so that you can make a claim. These people there, like you said, one of the parents put their kids up to it. They just think about this. Say something really did happen. They use their kids as bait, as fucking bait. And we don't show that part. The media doesn't cover that. The media doesn't say, why were these parents letting these kids stay at a grown man's house without chaperoning? No one brought that shit up. It's Michael Jackson's a bad guy because he had these kids over. Really? We're not going to ask why the parents were doing it? We're not going to, when they lied, we're not going to say, why did you just about bait a male to have sex with your kids so you could use them for a lawsuit? Who's really fucking demented in that case?
Yeah.
I mean, that's messed up. Look, nothing Michael said or did is as messed up as a parent taking their child and using their child to try to say that a man molests them for money. All of you parents that did that, you are sick fucks. You should not have kids, and you should be fucking ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. And I feel bad for the kids because they don't know any better that their parents used them as a prop. That is disgusting. That's wrong. And, forget anything you want to say about Michael. The parents are completely wrong. Totally and utterly wrong. It's disgusting.
Why
Sick.
wouldn't you chaperone? I mean, my God, the few times that I went to Silver Dollar City out here as a kid, when my parents weren't there, my parents made sure to know who was taking me. Was there an adult actually chaperoning? Do I know this adult? I want to sit down and have a conversation with them before I send my daughter off with a stranger I don't know to an amusement park. It's just common logic. And Planet Q's putting up some interesting information about the MJ case. Apparently, there was an extortion letter sent in 1993 by Jordy Chandler's dad. There was a lot of shady stuff with that particular.
And okay, let's just say, for instance, Michael puts out a fucking Google ad and says, hey, I'm looking for young kids, some boys that can come over to my place. They'll have a great time. All right? Say he does that. Who the fuck then would answer the ad and be like, sure, Michael, give me some money. I'll let my kids spend the night. Are you fucking out of your mind? Are you?
No, my mom, who was even a fan of his, would be like, okay, when should we, as in her, when should we show up? Because she would be there the entire damn time.
I mean, the man had a full amusement park. If I can go with my daughter, sure, sign me up. I'd be there with her in a minute. I'd be fucking eating cotton candy with the king. I would have no problem with that. I'd be like, Michael, look, I'll be invisible, like I'm not even here. But I'm staying with my fucking kid. And you got the cotton candy machine and all that. I'll be chilling over there. And you do your riding on the roller coaster or whatever. But I mean, in that sense, maybe. But even then, still, it's weird. It's a weird arrangement. So, okay, maybe he's wrong if he puts something out there. But at the same token, you're just as fucked up as taking money to put your kid with a grown-ass man overnight for money. Still, really is Michael... really, is that Michael's fault? Is that Michael's fault that the parents, were given money for no, it's the parents. They shouldn't have fucking taken money to have their kids over at another person's house. Nobody in this world, no reporter, no nothing, can break down that scenario and say, oh yeah, the parents are totally innocent. Even when I fucking heard this in the 90s, I asked my mom, I'm like, this isn't, she goes, yeah, they're full of shit. Everyone who heard that said, well, why'd you leave your kids there? That's the first question you ask as a parent, right? Is why.
Right? Like, even my mom, who was a fan, my brother is literally named after Michael Jackson. I believe he was born during, I don't know if it was the Bad album or the Thriller album came out, but he was named after the guy. But still, she'd be like, and you want my kids over at your house? Why?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. It
Yeah,
would she would have probably even been a little weirded out.
Planet Q's queen is actually on it today. It has a lot of knowledge on that. Yeah, that was true. The allegations didn't even match up with the dates that they said that this was happening on. Like they were just pulling shit from the media. And I like the next comment where she said, "I'm too nervous to have an adult woman visit my home alone, much less an unsupervised child." I feel the same way. Look, if my daughter had some friends over, I would still be sketchy because of the world that we live in. And I'm a single male father with like teenage girls at my house. Nah, fuck that. I'm not putting myself into that situation. So, and that's just
as my stepdad would say,
bad.
he was nervous about having the 2 teenage girls in his house go to high school with all those teenage hormonal boys, let alone go to some grown man's house. He would have flipped his shit.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, I'm sorry if you have that kind of anxiety. That's a terrible feeling, but I totally agree with that though because it makes sense. We're in a different world. You know, it's to a point where you can't have a fucking conversation with a female and just hit on them normally because you got to be afraid you're going to be fucking hashtag me too in the fucking bar because you come up to them and you're like, "Hey, they're beautiful. You know, can I get you a drink?" And they're like, "What are you trying to say? Are you objectifying me? Are you saying you're just out for my looks?" And it's like, holy fucking shit. No, I was just asking, would you like a drink? And we can talk, you fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
That pisses
Well,
me off because then we all get locked into it.
And then poor Henry Cavill, people were asking, the media kept bothering him and bothering him. Why aren't you dating anybody? And finally he just came out and said, well, with Me Too having such an eye, especially on Hollywood, I'm nervous to date anybody. So I just, when I'm not shooting, I just stay home and I play The Witcher on my Xbox. And
I don't fucking
because he's too nervous
Henry.
to date anybody.
It's really
back
sad.
in my day, it used to be you just had to ID them because you didn't know how fucking old the girl is, and you might be talking to her and then find out, oh, I got a funny story about that. So I was in the service with a couple of buddies of mine. We went to Summerfest. I don't know if anyone knows what that is, but, you know, a bunch of bands and shit like that. I will never forget this person. His name was Fernando. I won't say his last name or anything for, you know, non-doxing purposes. But he was a bit crazy when he got drunk and tended to say a lot more than I say on camera. So we go up and we're perusing around. We're all single because I refused to have a girl while I was in the service. It just doesn't work. And so, you know, we're perusing around talking with girls. We see this table and there's a bunch of females sitting there, gorgeous. We go up there to talk to them. And me and a buddy talk to them first. And we're yeah. Hey, that's fair, Janie. That's fair. I still love you. We go up to this table of girls and we start sitting down and talking to them. And we've been drinking, so the question in our minds never thought to enter, which should have been the first fucking question, was how old are you? I mean, I'm 20-something at this time. My friend's like 19 or 18. Another friend of mine is 25. Fernando's fucking 23. So we sit down and we're like, so we get this good rapport talking. One of the girls is really into me, and I just stop and I think for a moment. I'm like, you know, how old are you guys? You know, just out of curiosity. And the one girl starts laughing, and one's like, I'm 16. The other one's like, I'm 18. And the one I was talking to, she's like, I'm 19. And, you know, I'm 22. And I guess it's not illegal, but it's fucking weird for me. I don't like to date younger. It's not my thing because there's too much bullshit that goes with that. So, you know, and the 16-year-old was very, like, aggressive. leave it at that. You know, she was very like into it. So fucking Fernando comes down and we all feel awkward at this point because we never asked the age. And we're like, oh shit. Okay, so I'm thinking of these polite ways to excuse myself from the table because at this point I'm like, fuck that. I've seen how this ends. You know, military guys with this young girl, you know, next thing you know, I'm in the fucking news. I was like, no. I was like, looking at everyone and we had this look like, guys, what are we going to say? What are we going to do? So my fucking drunk friend inadvertently saves us all, jumps on the fucking table. He's like, hey girls, I'm Fernando. How are you? And they all beeline it. And I go, normally I would be pissed off at you, but you beautiful bastard, thank you so much. And he started laughing at me. You have no clue. He goes, what? Are they single? And I go, buddy, let's just go this way, okay? Just trust me. You want to come with us this way. But the moral of the story is my only problems were you had to worry about age. Now you have to worry about what you say. You got to worry about if you fucking hold the door open that someone's not going to flip out. Forget all that, man. I'm done. If me and bitchy don't work, I'm not dating. I'm moving to a fucking monastery and becoming a fucking Shaolin monk.
Well, hell, the way everybody's so afraid to hit on anybody at this point, if you're like a rational, normal female, like at this point, the only option is to become a nun, obviously.
I don't like that. I guess I don't know how to talk to people anymore because of that was I was talking about. But it kind of aggravates me when, you know, one group gets put in with all the other idiots that can't take oh, you're pretty. I think you're pretty or something like that. Oh my God, sexual harassment. And it's like, no, quit being a stupid little bitch, man up and just say, I'm not interested.
See, I talked to the girls I talked to the girls at Zoom.
For God's sake, take a compliment. I swear to God, these women that come after my generation, holy hell, can you not just accept a fucking compliment without thinking there's something freaking sinister behind it? Fucking Jesus Christ. You ever think that a guy just came up to you to tell you you're pretty because he thinks, you know, thought. It's not that deep.
Yeah, really.
I talked to these girls at Zoomy, and because you know I like to get a feel for like what the culture is doing now, you know, and you know I listen to some of their politics, and I'm like, oh, we would have never dated because, oh boy, you are too much into this culture that I just can't follow down. And one part about it, look, you're getting the guys' perspectives, guys. I'm just going to be real with you. I'm not going to bullshit you. A part of a guy's mind does immediately go to, damn, she's hot. But then you get into a conversation and then you start weighing options and you're like, well, we'll probably get into a fight about politics because she's fucking nuts on that. At the end of that, seems pretty woke. Could I do? Like, that's how guys think. And, you know, look, I'm not saying all guys are that way, but a majority of guys, you know, we don't always come across with the things that we're trying to say the best. And it used to just be, you know, he's being a guy, you know, you would say something stupid and girls were like, you know, it was corny or whatever, or that was a stupid line, or it was borderline sexist, but whatever.
Or,
you know,
he's nervous.
Yeah. Now it's like,
he's nervous. It's all right, dude. Sit down, have a drink.
No, he's like, these misogynists are dominating, but he's part of the fucking patriarchy. I go, I wish I had a card to this mysterious patriarchy. Do they have benefits? Because I still haven't gotten my privilege card.
What I love about it is if we don't agree with those little wussy bitches, you know, that can't take a compliment or whatever, we're internally misogynist. Oh no, bitch! God, I just don't want to talk to you. I don't want to.
I
It
used
gets
to get that until all of a sudden they realized I was autistic. Oh my God, she's part of a marginalized group. We can't make fun of her. She'll turn it on us. You better bet your ass I will use the sword that you use against me right back against you.
Yep.
Yeah. Tiffany and Phantasmagorical, you guys that don't go with the social norm, you guys have an internal hatred for your own species, and it's like, so because a majority of people don't agree with your bullshit, now you got to make up this supposed scientific reason for the women who are calling you out on your shit. Now it's they have internal misogyny and they have these characteristics and they've been in such a male dominated society that they're too afraid to speak. Or maybe it's you're just a fucking idiot. Normal people know you're a fucking idiot and it makes no sense what you're saying. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe they
And
don't
then
fucking
we
agree
get
with you.
I've
we get
never been
attacked
called
because, we don't want to date a guy that
I've been called
what?
someone far too intelligent for my own good and a know-it-all bitch. I've been called an autistic supremacist. That's still my favorite. I've been called a fake autistic. I've been called all kinds of things, but not quite that. Not yet. Pick me. That's actually a new one for me.
Oh, pick me, girl.
Yep.
Pick me.
I have no internal misogynism. That's a bunch of bullshit. What I am is a goddamn logical woman with my own mind. And what I'm not going to do is let some little bitch who is at least a decade, if not more, younger than me, telling me, a person who she has never met before and whom she knows absolutely nothing about, who and what I am. I've had the fucking medical professionals try to do that to me my entire life. I am sure as hell not letting little Miss Jin Z, who knows absolutely nothing about the world, try and do it
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that it's sad that I think it's sad that society has come to a point where they've made it difficult for guys and girls to meet each other. And if you do, it creates, look, trying to talk to someone, and I don't mean catcalling and all that bullshit. I think that's fucking stupid. And I'm sorry. I apologize for my male counterparts. There are a lot
That's
of
all right. I just respond to catcalling in one way.
I mean,
I don't make the guys over to coals. I just lift my middle finger directly up in the air where I'm sure they can see it as they pass by in their car, and I'm pretty sure they get the message. There's no
I've
need to
seen
rake them
your
over the
middle
coals.
finger on Twitter. Through your words on Twitter, I've seen that middle finger.
And, it's already an awkward experience for most guys or women to talk to each other. It's the hardest thing in the world to strike up a conversation. See, me, I've just never given a shit. My mom always told me, son, there's only two answers you can get, yes or no. And if you get no, there's plenty of other women you can talk to. Clearly, they're not interested, and I fuck off. But I mean, it's already hard enough for some people who are insecure and have a fear of talking to people and this fear of rejection or being able to talk with the opposite sex. That's tough enough. But when you have the media perpetuating these fake fucking labels, it's damn near impossible. I don't know how fucking kids date right now because it's like everything is taboo. Everything is wrong. You can't say this. You can't say that. You can't do this. Well, if you're telling me by society standards, I can't do all of this, and then I already got fears about fucking talking to someone because of this, this, and this, then I guess I'm going to be fucking poor Henry Cavill's just going to be on fucking Xbox his whole life. Poor man. He should be getting left and white. The poor guy is stuck playing The Witcher. There should be a hashtag Henry Cavill needs love. I don't, I mean, when you have big celebrities who got money, look good, and they might be a genuinely decent person to talk to, and they're fucking scared to strike up a conversation, there is something wrong. I mean, the worst
He has
thing.
a girlfriend now, though. I do believe.
Oh, there's
Yeah,
these young.
God knows how they
Here's
met. They
the
probably
problem.
fucking did
And
smoke
it
signals.
started when Zod and I were kids, and it's gotten worse over the years. And it starts with the schools. They don't teach kids how to think anymore. They teach them what to think, which makes them predisposed to believe whatever the news reports tell them, because again, they're not taught critical thinking skills anymore.
Nope.
They're not
How
taught
about
how to think for themselves. They're just taught how to regurgitate whatever they see on the news. I mean, when we were kids, when we would do an essay or state an opinion on anything for our high school, we were expected to quote sources from where we got our information to show how we got to our conclusions. They're just freaking using Google, for God's sake. That wouldn't have even been an accepted source of information when I was a kid. You were expected to quote the book, quote the page, quote the author, quote the study, whatever it is. They don't even have to do that anymore. Kids are not taught to dig deeper so that they can think for themselves and develop their own opinions. They're taught to accept another person's opinion, and to the point to where they believe it's their own.
What about the kids in Australia? I saw this months ago, and then Stevie J just put a video out here recently about the classroom where the little boys had to stand up in front of the little girls and apologize for being male.
Yeah,
did you hear about that?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. There's been this. I like because I'm subscribed to some people on Twitter, and I like seeing they're part of a group I used to associate with, and I like seeing the dumb shit that as this group implodes. I'm sorry, call me a little bit salty. But anyway, so I was following this feed on something very interesting, and I may address it later on if you guys are interested in dumb shit. Speaking of group.
What we were talking about, there is a school in Australia that made all the little boys get up and turn to the little girls.
The video Stevie did?
And apologize for being male. And all I could say is, like, what the fuck is that? And if they ever did that to my nephew, I would have probably waged war.
Yeah.
If that was me, I would have stood up and I would have been like, I'm sorry, this fucking class is stupid. Because I was a little asshole when I was a kid. I didn't even do my work. If half of this shit came out when I was a kid, my mom would have gone to that school and raised so much hell. And it would have just been her. It would have been my Auntie May and a bunch of other people that I knew from the block. In a city school, you fucking kid. Oh my God. Do you know the shit that would have went down in the school I went to when I was a kid? That district would have burned.
Hold up. What the actual hell?
What?
Yeah, I heard that Planet
Q. A fictional character. Okay, they want to trash Bruce Wayne, who's a fictional billionaire, but they don't want to go after Musk, who's an actual male billionaire.
Yeah, I saw that.
Musk doesn't give a shit.
But seriously, you're really coming after a fake fictional freaking character because he's a billionaire? My God. They
canceled Pepe Le Pew, a skunk.
His original creators are fucking dead. Really? What the hell?
You know, this is what I'm talking about, and this is why I do this shit on my channel, and why I talk about woke culture is because people forget, and this was a little bit before the height of the woke culture. When it started seeping in, they went after Captain America and they turned him into a Hydra a Hydra agent, like basically
Mm-hmm. I heard
communist.
about that. Yes, my friend
And it
Sarah
was,
ranted for a freaking month. Oh my god.
let me tell you something. It was the most disgusting thing. If you guys don't know, I'm from New York. I actually have friends from the area where Captain America was conceived, like his neighborhood in the comics that he lives in. I know that area. It's a place in Brooklyn. You know, for me, the character is very personal to me. I would dare say it contributes to some of the reasons why I wanted to be in the military. Out of every Marvel character, he's my favorite. And when they did that, um, it really it really hurt me on a level because, look, I know comic books are fake. I know these characters aren't real. But characters are created in these worlds for us to be able to identify with. They're heroes. They're people that are supposed to represent the best of humanity and be in these crazy situations. But at the end of the day, they're avatars for what mankind could be, its potential, its greatness, right? It's in comic books. It's supposed to give us a sense of hope. And writing now is just dread and bleak, and the stories fucking suck because they're trying to make it real world, and no one reads a fucking comic for real world
The
commentary.
real world. Yes.
Shit,
It's escapism.
Yep. It's like, oh, Bruce Wayne being a billionaire is a problem? Why? If I was a billionaire, I'd create a fucking bat suit too. And the
Yeah.
and I'd go out and fight crime because I could pay off the officers to look the other way.
And I'd go out and fight crime.
I would totally do it. I would fucking totally do it because you missed the context. Yes, he's a billionaire, but what you fucking idiots fail to read is between the lines. He's a billionaire with the most tortured soul of any fucking character I've ever read, because despite him having money, the point of the fucking comic is that even if you're rich, you could be touched with tragedy, and as opposed of just doing what rich people do and throwing money at the situation, he wanted to physically make Gotham better, and he had the means to do it. And if you take away his money, how the fuck is he stopping crime? I don't understand the logic that these people operate with. It's like, did you ever fucking open a comic book and read it? No, you didn't.
Did you see the most recent?
There is no logic.
Most
That's
recent
the problem.
Batwoman. I swear to God, they were trying to hit every single category they could. She was poor. She is a person of color. She is a person who's LGBT. And whatever new letters.
Didn't she live in a van down by the river?
Oh, oh god, oh my god, are you?
It's like they were trying. It was like they had a checkbox when they created that character, and they had to make sure to check all the boxes.
Are we talking? Oh, please, are we talking about Batwoman? Because I have a review on the first. Okay, all right. Rant time.
Okay, go for it.
Go for it. I'll be right back.
Rise, okay, and I remember your fucking name, and I'm terrible at names. You are the most fucking horrendous creator. You are not a creator, ma'am. You are the worst individual I've ever met. You start every fucking sentence with diversity and inclusion on every fucking thing you're talking about, even when the fucking has nothing to do with it. And you do not understand Batwoman, not a fucking single bit. She's a gay character, yes. She has a red wig, yes. Your fucking comprehension beyond that, you have no clue about. They took the gay aspect and they made it a whole big thing. And then on top of that, they took the military aspect and they fucked that whole thing to Kingdom Come. And then I said, okay, I saw the new casting. I'm like, Lisa, what was her name? Javanica, Leslie or whatever. She's a great actress. She's wonderful. I feel bad for you. She actually cares. But they got Javicia, and I said, okay, this is your chance, Dries. This is your chance. You can put in your little diversity plug just enough so we go, yeah, you got a black character, but you can make the show better. And what does she do, folks? What does she do? Makes it worse. How do you go from low to lower? I mean, at this point, you're down in the fucking center of the world. There's a saying that there's nowhere to go but up, but this show constantly proves you can, in fact, go fucking lower than low. She's gay, black. I'm surprised they haven't made her a trans yet. They had a terrible plug about police brutality where they made the police look bad and the character was actually being an asshole. And I'm watching the episode going, wait a second. She badmouthed the police. She did something illegal, which they were questioning her about, and they only arrested her after she went at the officer. And I'm supposed to think the cops of Gotham are assholes for doing their job? You guys have no concept of social commentary. Don't put social commentary in your fucking show. You barely understand the characters. So maybe focus on the characters. Worry about the politics later when you learn how to fucking write, because that show looks like a bunch of fucking 2-year-old people got in a fucking room. They drew scripts on crayons and they made a fucking show. And CW, you guys should be a fucking ashamed of yourselves that this piece of shit show is not canceled. I don't know what the ratings you need, but the motherfucker only has 300,000 people watching. In case you guys don't know, that is really fucking terrible. The average show gets canceled after 1.3 million drop. This show fucking dropped by 3 million viewers. It has literally 300,000 people watching. That is fucking terrible. And this show is still on. What the actual fuck?
It's pretty bad when you have people who never read fan fiction a day in their lives, and all of a sudden they are flooding places like fanfiction.net because fanfic writers are writing better fucking stories than these goddamn shows. I'm like, hire them. They're starving people who are writers. Hire them. They're apparently writing better stories. I mean, God, that's pretty bad.
How is every decision made in this show bad? I mean, even in the worst show, I've watched shitty shows, and even in a bad show, they occasionally get one thing right. This is a truly interesting show because they get absolutely positively nothing fucking right. It's spectacular. It is spectacularly just amazing how bad this show is. It's amazing. It is a fucking art form. This is The Room. Tommy Wiseau bad. No.
I'm sorry. What the hell happened to Barbara Gordon, by the way? She was the original Batwoman. And not one time in any CW show is she ever mentioned. She was Batwoman.
Oh, no. She was Batgirl. Batwoman was Kate Kane. Because they had, I know, it gets confusing. They have two different ones. Batgirl was Barbara Gordon until she was shot by Joker in The Killing Joke and then turned to Oracle. And Batwoman is Kate Kane, who is the cousin of Bruce Wayne, I believe, or second cousin or some shit. And she comes to Gotham after Bruce Wayne. Was it during the Bane arc? No, I think it was Hush, but something to do with Bruce Wayne had some shit going down and the Bat family all assembles. So you had Batgirl, Batwoman, Red Robin, Nightwing, and a couple of others who came together. But yeah,
Didn't they
and that's
kill
the
off
other thing
that
too.
woman
Did you
in
hear
that?
they're bringing Bat girl into the show, and I am so not excited. They are bringing Barbara Gordon to the show. It's going to be a fucking train wreck. They need to immediately pull the licensings from this show because they have fucked up every character. They fucked up Hush. They fucked up Zaz. They have fucked up every single character. I'm so glad they don't have the Joker rights. Don't ever put fucking Joker in the show. I swear to God, Dries, if you put Joker in the show, I will fucking find you. I will find you. And I'm not going to say on YouTube what's going to happen, but I'll fucking find you, Dries. Don't do it. Don't fuck with Joker. I don't need that shit on Joker. We already have Jared Leto. We don't need any more bad Jokers.
Oh my God.
I'm so sorry. This show gets me so pissed off because it's just like I watched it go from bad to worse to
It looks like Jake's feeling you there.
Yeah. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you. I feel you. I watch this show just because my audience likes to see me suffer, or I wouldn't watch this piece of shit. I wouldn't give it the time of day. But when they see me defeated every review, and I'm like, well, guys, I just watched another episode that I had to pause 10 times.
This is worse than you and Blair trying to talk about bat nipples.
I will tell you right now, I would watch a fucking another George Clooney Batman before I'd ever want to sit down and endure more than one viewing of this fucking show. It is so bad. Richie has to sit there with a fucking gun to my head and go, honey, you promised you were going to do a season review. I'm like, no, don't understand. They're like, honey, you're not moving until this is over, okay? I'm right here with you. It's okay. It's like a fucking therapy session when we get done. I'm sitting crying in her lap going, why? What did my life go wrong? What led me to this? And she's like, honey, it's okay. I got you. It's okay. Oh my God, it's okay. Why would this character say that? There's no consistency. What is going on? It's like I literally paused this fucking show 10 times because I'll get to a part and I'll go, nope, I can't do it. Fuck it. I tear my channel down. I don't give a fuck anymore. I can't do it.
And you know what's bad? When back in the day we had freaking Crypto the goddamn super dog, and it's better.
Crypto the super dog had lovable qualities here and there. It was kind of like, yeah, okay, you made this, but this goddamn show. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. This goddamn show. This fucking show. As a DC fan, I literally die inside. Every fucking episode I watch. A little piece of what was left of Zod that was not cynical and
you get angry. In 5 minutes, you're like, dear God, why? Dear God, why?
Past those stupid fucking Batwoman credits that even annoy me. I hear one thing of dialogue and I go, nope, I'm done. That's it. Nope, I'm done. I can't do it. I can't do this. I can't. People are like, oh, Zod, why haven't you uploaded any Batwoman videos? Folks, I've got to literally watch this season by season. I can't do it episode by episode because it takes me 3 days to watch one episode.
And then he needs 3 days to recover because he needs some hard alcohol to get past that.
I need to go on a 3-day bender, come back, 2 days of recovering from my 3-day bender, shorten a 20-hour video to 2 hours.
DJ H Record Hand says, I'm older and lived through Scrappy Doo. You'll be okay, son.
For real.
I'd watch Scrappy Doo before this show. I'm sorry, I'll say it. I will watch Scrappy the annoying freaking dog before I will lower myself to watch this show.
I've never seen, look, when I first watched Supergirl, I said,
real quick, God, we both got to say hi to Carmen. Hi, Carmen.
Hi, Carmen. When I
Hi,
first
Connie.
watched, I'm a huge fan of the CW, not the new shit, okay, like Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Flash, when it was good before it should have stopped at season 3. All of those shows, right? And they had some actual good fucking filmmaking. They had some good stories. They had good actors. I mean, the dude who plays Slade Wilson in fucking the
Eric?
second season of Arrow, he was in Spartacus. And if you all saw that, he plays Crixus in Spartacus. He's an actually good fucking actor in Arrow. They had Malcolm McDowell. They had good fucking actors in this show,
They
okay?
had Bowerman. Poor Bowerman.
Hopefully Bowerman wasn't showing anybody his quiver. Anyways, you guys will get the joke if you've seen the stream. But, I mean, they had Bowerman. They had a lot of good, high-caliber talent in that show. So I watched every one, and Supergirl came out. And that's when I noticed the quality started kind of dipping a little bit. I mean, the later seasons of Arrow were kind of iffy, but that's when I was like, oh, they're just churning these out. And like that first episode, I've had people argue with me. I'm sorry. The first episode, me and PB have argued about this. The first episode of Supergirl fucking looks atrocious. The CGI is terrible. It was on CBS, and the fucking budget, it was supposed to be higher, but the CGI, the story, the way it was edited, it was fucking horrendous. And the politics were clear as day in it. I'm sorry. That show was when they really started leaning towards the politics, and now it's gone so far fucking left. It actually got canceled, so yay. And now, replaced by the fucking Powerpuff Girls, because I needed a fucking live action Powerpuff Girls. Thank you for destroying my idea. Thank you for destroying. The only reason why I want to watch the Powerpuff Girls is because my love's in there. If you guys ever watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know how I feel about that show. And the girl who plays Daisy, she's Blossom. She's my Blossom. So I'll watch the show and give it a shot. I'll be a little biased.
When are they going to start doing Samurai Jack? If we're going to start doing like old school Cartoon Network, are they going to bust up with Samurai Jack?
No,
They need to leave that alone.
Cartoon Network show. You know what? CW, fucking stop. Fucking stop.
I love Samurai
CW,
Jack.
stop. Don't.
Oh, if they bust out Samurai Jack, I bet Zod will just like, okay, I'm sending them an email now. Leave him alone.
They'll probably spontaneously combust.
It will be a strongly worded letter.
They have no imagination. They can't go on their own ideas. They have to fuck up ours.
I know. I mean,
what we love.
Completely destroying all my comic book stuff. Like, God, leave it alone.
And
I'm not really into comics, but going off YouTube, I know that I don't want to be right now into comics because of what I see on other channels and stuff, how they just have destroyed
oh my God, bring back Harvey Birdman, attorney at law. Oh my God.
That was see, and here's the thing. One great thing that did happen was the revival of Samurai Jack, because oh my God, like it's probably my favorite season. The animation was crisp. The story was pretty tight. They picked it right back up from where they left off the last season. And there were a few woke things here or there in it, but it wasn't too crazy. And they stuck true to it. And it's it ended just like with the Powerpuff Girls. They had an ending. Why the fuck do we need a live action? Why do we need a live action Powerpuff Girls? Who the fuck?
And here's my general question to everyone who's doing this, especially Disney. Do we need a live action everything? Why in the name of God can a cartoon just not be a cartoon? Why do we have to turn all these
new ideas? They can't think for themselves.
God.
So they pick what's there.
Maybe they should go to fanfiction.net, find the top writers, and hire them. Because I swear to God, they're producing better ideas right now.
Yeah, and Janie, I'm sorry to wreck your
doing everything,
but Yogi Bear and Boo Boo weren't safe. there's a product that exists, and I swear to God, I'm not lying. This is the thing.
Oh God.
They have a Yogi Bear movie, and it is
Oh,
probably. You
sweet
know what?
baby.
I'm gonna do a top 10 worst movies ever made because this would be in like my top 5. This movie is so. It is up
Oh
there
my
with
God,
Woody
why?
Woodpecker, which would be my number 4. It is the worst fucking live action / cartoon thing I've ever fucking seen. It is terrible. It is terrible. It is horrible. I to this
Wow.
still don't know what the fucking plot of that movie was. I have no clue. I have no clue what that movie was about. I have no idea. There was picnic baskets being stolen, and then something with the park. And then we go into a message about saving trees. I don't know what the message of the movie is to this day. I am so fucking confused what the writer was trying to say. But it had nothing to do with Yogi Bear. Yes, I do.
I swear
Was
to God.
broke. He was broke that weekend. He needed pocket change, and they said, "Hey, Dan, we got Yogi Bear," and he goes, "Fuck it, I haven't worked in a while, anyways. I guess I'll voice him."
Who voiced him?
Dan Aykroyd. Oh,
Dan
no.
Aykroyd.
Oh
Who,
no.
by the way, he himself is he's a great actor. I mean, he was
Yes.
one of the main powers behind the original Ghostbusters. And my God, how could you not be a fan of the original Ghostbusters? Come on now.
Oh, they're out
Well, maybe
there.
if you're a idiot.
oh my God!
I have rants about
Don't get me started. Black Angus and Rookie Critic. For some reason, they got a hard on against Ghostbusters. I don't know. Me and PB had an hour-long discussion about why the fuck they're so crazy when it comes to this movie because we can't figure it out. And to be fair, they did give some valid points as to why they don't like it. But calling it a bad film, I could never co-sign on that because, okay, if Ghostbusters, the original, isn't your cup of tea, I understand. Like, if the jokes don't land for you, if you're not a fan of particular actors, I get it. But saying something's a bad film, and this is what I hate about people who review in general. If you guys notice, if I don't like something, I give you very specific, in-depth reasons and point things out within the film so you have context to what I'm saying. But I feel like when people call a movie bad, they call it bad because they don't like a scene, an actor, or something that was said, but they don't give you the reason why. And that's a terrible critique. If you're going to call a classic movie that is beloved by people a bad movie, when historically it's proven not to be, you've got to give compelling reasons. Like, I've argued with tons of people about Black Panther. I can give you a litany of I can show you technical reasons why that movie fucking sucks. And all I gotta say is the fucking rhinos. What the fuck were you guys doing in the CGI department with the fucking rhinos? They look absolutely positively terrible. And everybody, go back. You don't even have to watch the whole fucking movie. Just skip to the part with the rhinos and tell me that isn't the worst fucking CGI that a fucking $250 million movie comes up with that shit. Would you waste all the money on Chadwick Boseman? I mean, where the fuck did the money go? Because the CGI at times is just...
Cherry K, she's never seen the original Ghostbusters. Sherry, it is your cup of tea, ma'am. You've got to see it.
Oh, yes.
You got to see the original movie. You have to.
Yes.
This is your homework, Cherry K. When you get a moment to yourself, go watch the original Ghostbusters movie. You'll love it.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, my God, Marshmallow Man was everywhere like in the 80s. Like, when you have a movie that is so big that its main villain is suddenly everywhere, main symbols of the freaking 80s, and you want to tell me it's bad?
I mean, you know,
yeah,
I've had
I call bullshit.
Look. Okay, I'm not an 80s kid, but I was around that era, and my parents grew up in the 80s. And, I have a love for a lot of 80s films. And I've had people tell me, like, The Breakfast Club sucks and things like that. And
Whoa.
I will fucking argue with you motherfuckers till the end of time. That movie is fucking magical. That
Yes.
soundtrack is amazing. Fucking amazing.
Yes.
Fanta, I knew there's a reason why we got along. Yeah, I've had people
Especially
tell me,
compared to the crap that they have out now, especially late 80s, early 90s. The original The Stand miniseries that came out in the real early 90s was phenomenal. I did not see any reason why the hell it needed to be remade. It was perfect. The original Nadine was freaking brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
And look at Gary Sinise in there.
Rob Lowe. I mean, you had these people in their fucking prime. The dude from. Yep. You had people
Molly
in
Greenwald.
their prime.
You had Gary Sinise, or as I refer to him, Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah. We all call him that now. He's never going to live that down.
Yeah. It was like when I was watching these, like, Roadhouse, that's if you want to be, because they're trying to remake it because of this very reason. If you want to say it's misogynistic, whatever, I fucking love it. But yes, it was a very male centric kind of a movie. But that scene where he rips out the dude's throat at the end of the movie, fucking scene has been mimicked so many fucking times now. I could literally go to shows and point out where they've ripped off that scene in a fight. It's iconic. And the music and the big dude wasn't it Sam Elliott, I believe, was the
God, Sam Elliott is my dude. Oh my God, he's a brilliant actor, and he's unlike AH. You see Sam Elliott in a movie, and you know exactly who it is.
Hell, damn commercials he does are awesome.
Footloose, Dirty Dancing, Breakfast Club, Young Guns. Oh, hell yeah. Like Footloose.
Oh, Young Guns. Emilio Estevez. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Dude, Young Guns people don't realize, nobody had a fucking idea who Emilio Estevez was. They only knew the other Estevezes, because it's family, until that movie, Young Guns. That movie, Young Guns,
Charlie,
put everybody in that
Charlie's
movie
his brother, but Charlie Sheen, and then he just took his mother's name.
Poor Charlie.
Yep,
Charlie, and that whole interview with the tiger blood.
Tiger's blood, yeah.
Oh my God, that's probably its own conversation.
When you start an interview and you start an interview and you're like, I'm a Vatican warlock assassin, and you're like, okay, I'm a horrible person, but go on.
Bought my shirt when all that happened. I bought my son a shirt with him on it, said winning.
He was like, let me tell you about these guys, these fucking trolls under the bridges. These trolls, they want to take me down, man. They want to take me down, and it's all part of a conspiracy. I was like, oh my God, this is fucking gold. I wish I was making videos back when this motherfucker lost his mind, because that was a golden era. That interview, I have never laughed and nearly pissed my pants in my life. Besides that fucking interview, I was laughing so hard. My mom, because this was on the regular news, and my mom comes out and goes, son, why the fuck are you laughing so hard? So I sit her down. I go, you got to see this shit, Mom. So I sit her down, and we start watching this, and she's like, she's like, looks at me, she goes, get the fuck out of here. And I go, no, this shit is real. This isn't a joke, Mom. This motherfucker believes the shit he's saying right now. He didn't prank us. It's not April Fool's. He's really fucking lost his mind.
I feel that it seems like he's in a better place now. He's off the drugs, which I'm glad to see, but poor guy, for the rest of his life, anyone from our generation, for the rest of our life, will look at him and be like, you drinking tiger's blood? for the rest of his life. Poor dude.
I'm glad I have
He's
the
like,
years
"I'll tell you about
before
two and a
that.
half men." He's like,
Oh, I'll
"I'll tell
tell
you
you
about
another
2.5
movie from the
men."
80s that's kind of magnificent. The Jerk with Steve Martin.
Oh,
Yes.
When you have a
yes.
movie, ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know about The Jerk, they would never do it these days, because when you start a movie that starts with, I was born a poor black child, and it's Steve, this old white guy, all you know is like, okay, this is going to be a train wreck. Go on. And oh my God.
Yeah,
It just moves down it.
yeah. When I remember thinking about like all of the movies that wouldn't be made now, and another movie, and it's one of my favorites, and I watched it because it was my mom and dad's movie, and I was like, oh, great, a loving story my mom and dad watched, so that's weird. But no, I sat down and I watched it. When Harry Met Sally, that fucking movie could
Oh,
never be made these days, because when Billy Crystal says
Oh my God, no.
that line where he's like arguing with his friend about men and women being friends. And he goes, men and women aren't friends. He goes, men only have women they haven't fucked yet. Could you imagine? Could you fucking imagine the outrage? They would be canceling Billy Crystal right
Oh my
now.
God, the SJW parade would be
Oh.
out in force.
Oh my God.
I've got one. 48 hours.
Oh yeah, 48 hours would never happen either. Nick Nolte
With Nick Nolte calling him watermelon.
Oh yeah, you'd never have that, and that's the problem, because that's why you see a lot of these directors who don't do those movies anymore, and it's sad because those were fun. Like that was the height of the 80s and the 90s. All of the and you know what film to me, and I'm going to do a review of it and really lay down some things, but the film that predicted. And this film got panned when it first came out. It did so terrible. And now it's a fucking cult classic. But the movie that predicted this shit happening, and I'd love to talk to the director for their inspiration, but that movie, Demolition Man, called this bullshit so many years ago. So many fucking years ago. I remember
Oh my God, yes.
I remember watching that movie going, a society of pansies where they're locking up people for that's a little far-fetched, buddy. And holy fuck if we're not living through it now. I remember the Critical Drinker, I watch his channel, and he did a review, and he's like, holy shit. He was like, if only they knew how true this movie was going to be when they bashed it, because the critics originally said back in the 90s, if you read old critiques of the movie, of course they never liked anything Stallone did, and they said this movie is too unrealistic and could never take place, and the social commentary doesn't make sense and stuff. And it's like watching it now, and I'm like, want to call up the Post and be like, what were you guys saying before? Because fucking looks like this is happening fucking line for line.
God, I missed that decade. We had movies like A Time to Kill, which was, first of all, heart-wrenching, but A Time to Kill was incredible. Everybody that was acting in it was brilliant. You had McConaughey, you had Samuel L. Jackson, I think you had Sandra Bullock in there, and Ashley Judd. Don't know how I feel about her these days.
That's my girl crush, was Ashley Judd, till she went nutty.
Oh yeah, Planet Q is listening a bunch, but yeah, you could never have those movies. Rambo? Are you fucking kidding me? Stallone barely got away with making the new Rambo he made, Last Blood, which I thought was good. A lot of people bitch, whatever. I could understand, but when they
and oh my God, Braveheart.
Oh, Braveheart never fucking happened. Not unless they took out half the scenes of showing real historical shit. What they do. In that culture, but no, they'd attack it because they'd be like, "Oh, it just portrays this country so violent." But that shit
That was
happened.
the Middle Ages, dumbasses. That was the Middle Ages. The
What
Middle
about
Ages were violent and dark, and they actually censored a lot. The Middle Ages were actually a lot more brutal than they depicted in that movie. Drawn and quartering was a lot more brutal than they showed in that movie.
I'm
I
not
swear
gonna
to God,
lie.
I wanted to
I'm
yell
not
at
gonna
them
lie.
to pick up a book sometime.
Zod doesn't get a very emotional when watching stuff. The Boston thing really did get to me because it was a real event that really fucking happened. So, I mean, you know, it's not like
Right.
some historical shit. But I will say the one historical movie that gets me every fucking time. I watched this 2 years ago just to be like, I'm grown now. I can handle it. When he's fucking in that square and the guy looks at him and he goes, do you repent? What do you have to say? And he's like, shh, shh, shh. He's like, the prisoner wishes to speak. And when he yells freedom, I fucking cry every fucking time. I water flood. I watched this movie with Bitchy and she just looked at me and she stops and she has a smile on her face and she's like, fucking pussy. I was like,
oh my God.
You don't understand. I'm Irish and we fought with them to get rid of England. I go, this is historical. I go, you don't understand my fucking people. It's sad. Dude.
It is. I cry too.
2 parts that get me too. One was when his wife died. Okay, I get choked up. I don't full on like bawl. I'm like, William, those fucking bastards, you make them pay, buddy. But when he cries freedom, I know the scene. I've seen it fucking 20 times now in my life. I know the scene. I know what's fucking coming. I know it's coming. And I feel the welt. I'm like, don't you do it. Don't. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, it's just.
And at the very end, when you have Robert the Bruce and he turns around and talks to the man because he was supposed to kiss the English ass for his clown, but instead he turns around and says, you bled with Wallace, now bleed with me. That's when, like, my stepdad started bawling like a little baby.
Oh, I'm not going to lie.
You,
I don't stop crying from freedom to that part. I get worse when he says that speech. I was only, like, there's a few flooded tears, and then, yeah, Tiffany, I'm like, I just keep on crying. I'm like, I can't turn this off. I can't do it anymore.
The movie that gets me like that is Dead Poet Society. I've seen it 100 times, and I cry every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. Oh, that's a sad ass movie too.
I have a dish towel. That's how bad it is.
Mine is the Schindler's List, the part where he kept saying, I could have got more.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. That.
And then you see the little red coat. Oh.
That entire movie.
Let me tell you something. Schindler's List, I'll tell you something about Schindler's List. It's a great movie. I love it. But, and true story, guys, I'm 35 now. I saw it out of high school. I think it was 1920, somewhere around there. I've seen that movie fucking once, and I've never seen it again. I will never put myself through that movie ever again.
I've never watched it twice.
I love Liam Neeson. I'll never fucking do it again. That movie is too much. Because you know the shit happened, and it's a pretty accurate movie to the point where, like, that breaks you as a person. I just want to find the nearest fucking Jewish person, hug them, and tell them, God damn, I'm sorry. I'm an asshole.
Him breaking down at the end when he said, I could have got more, and you, like, that's a breaking point for everybody. I could have got more. He acted the shit out of that particular scene.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, your heart just drops to your feet.
Oh, Cherry K, The Color Purple. I can't watch that shit again. I can't watch it because I call up my black friends and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm an asshole. And they're like, what are you talking about? I go, what we did to you, man. And they're like, fuck, you were watching Color Purple again, weren't you? I'm like, I just want to say I'm sorry, man. I apologize for everybody who took part in that bullshit. I'm sorry. All y'all wanted to be together, and I just don't. We're assholes, man.
One of my
Oprah
favorite
was
movies,
amazing
kind
in
of
that movie.
a similar theme. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's called Glory, and it had Matthew Broderick and
Oh God,
Morgan Freeman in it.
I
Like
haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, that final battle where they're all fucked because history and the way it.
Denzel
Dude,
was in it.
yeah, I can't do it because I'm just like the way they cut that movie. You're like, oh,
And the
this is
freaking music, it doesn't help. They play that
no.
music right at the end during the final battle, and you're like, oh God. And I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen.
Denzel's in it. Denzel Washington's in it.
Denzel's in it. Morgan Freeman's in it. It had Matthew Broderick. It had Carrie Elves from Princess Bride in it.
Oh yeah, it has
the
a hell of
one.
a cast.
Speaking of movies who can't be made anymore, Princess Bride.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't be made because God forbid we have some wholesome, just good old fashioned storytelling that has a good positive message. You can't do that because there's not enough empowerment in it for them.
I want to take this back to Denzel for a second because in Training Day, remember when they're there towards the end and he's like, King Kong, and he got shit on me. Oh my God, chills. Can you see him? I get him just talking about it. I love Denzel.
So I watched that movie with Bitchy, and we first started watching it, and she's not really into the urban setting kind of thing. I grew up in the city, so I love that shit, but she's not really into those kinds of films, and she's watching it, she's like, whatever. And she starts watching it, and she goes, oh, shit. And she's like, he's it. I go, keep watching. She gets to the end, and she was like, holy fuck, that was crazy. And I go, right? It's like the whole day is hinged on one good deed that he does. Literally saved his fucking life, because if he didn't happen to keep the wallet of the girl that almost got raped that he saved, they would have fucking cut him up in a bathtub. That is like, people don't make films like that anymore. They don't make movies like this anymore. It's a shame.
Put your fear aside and make your fucking money, because you're all scared of what these little people cancel you, and you're losing money. I know they get bailed out, which I don't understand that, but put all that aside, make good shit that people really want, because these people that are trying to cancel you for a character or whatever, they don't give you money. They sit in their mom's basement on a keyboard with no job, nothing.
Half of these people don't watch movies. And if they do, it's not good stuff.
No. It's
and that's kind of Father's
No, they call freaking Captain Marvel quality top-notch cinema, for God's sake.
Boy.
That movie would not have flew in the 90s. I'm just saying.
I'll be right back.
For my fucking opinion on that piece of shit film. That's why I really hate that movie. I'm more salty at the fact that because I gave a valid opinion with a very in-depth critique that took me, it's literally a 3-hour video where I broke down every part that was wrong with the film and the inconsistencies in the movie and the fact that it's fucking boring and the story is very inconsistent, and someone fucking doxed me. That is the level that we're at. And these critics are like, it's breathtaking, it's empowering, and it's like,
oh my God.
What does empowering have to do? This is what pisses me off about movie reviews. They don't review, because what does empowering mean? What does it mean when you say it's got social relevance? That isn't a fucking critique. That's a talking point. Where's your fucking proof? No one lays down scenes. Look, even if you can't talk about the movie because it just got released, if you're a fucking good critic, you could tell people vaguely about the film and what you vaguely like about it without spoiling the movie and with it still making fucking sense. And these guys don't. Even movies that aren't woke, when they look at a review, any review it's always talking about social satire. What does it mean to the? And it's like, no, movies are, like we said at the beginning of all this, escapism. So tell me what makes the film good. They don't even fucking tell you about the camera work, the colors, the lighting, none of that shit. It's all dead. They don't. That's why I don't read reviews. I watch Jeremy Johns, Chris Stuckman, or one of those because they actually go in depth. But I don't watch any of these other people because they don't tell me shit about the film.
I swear to God, if I hear more one freaking critic who goes on, but is it relevant to what's going on today? Like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm not here to watch a movie because it's relevant to what's going on right now. I'm here to watch a movie to watch a goddamn movie. I'm here to escape from reality because reality is shit right now and has been for a very long time. And you all want to tell me, well, don't watch it because it doesn't speak to the problems of today. It doesn't fucking have to. What's the point of watching a movie when you can see the same thing by turning on the goddamn news? Just saying.
You know the irony. I think when I shoot my my trailer reaction, I might put on the side of it because I'm really messing with the editing feature for my video editor. I'm thinking I might put on the side of the reaction the Rotten Tomatoes score, and I fucking hate them. They're inaccurate, but the critics were actually funny, and I might pull up what they've said because the critics bashed the shit out of this film, and I was reading some of the critiques, and as woke as this movie appears, apparently the critics don't like the movie because it just doesn't get woke enough. You know, it just doesn't.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, the irony. You pander to all of these people. And the irony is the same people you put this garbage out to, they say, oh, yeah, it's garbage, but it's not garbage enough. You didn't throw anything about like white officers abusing all of these people or patriots. So I can't endure this. It's fucking disgusting.
All right, guys. Well, we've been going on for about 2 hours and 30 minutes now, so it's about time to wrap up. I'm going to ask you two what you're getting ready to do on your channels. As for mine, guys, I'm still covering the JRC and with the skin shocks for the autistic kids and the fact that unfortunately it's still going on. Those freaking bastards got around the ban due to COVID. So I'm still covering that. I'm getting very few views on those videos, which they're not getting much traction, I can tell you that. And I don't necessarily know why. I know some of you guys do watch those videos. Some folks, it's a little bit too difficult, so you just send me a like and comment because it goes over graphically about the torture of disabled kids. I get that. I appreciate the likes, but I don't know. These people are extremely shady. I wouldn't be surprised if there was something going on to keep the views down. I mean, the JD versus AH thing has kind of like poisoned me in regards to how much people will try to keep certain videos down. But anyways, I'm continuing to cover that, and of course I'm continuing to cover the JD versus AH where we go through long periods of no information, and then all of a sudden there's rapid information back to back to back to back. So I'm going to still be covering that. Phantasmagorical, what are you working on your channel?
Well, I'm going to be doing a thank you because I know most of you know what my sons and I have gone through these last since the 20th. Their dad was killed in a motorcycle accident. Someone pulled out in front of him. Been going through that, but I want to thank real quick everyone that has reached out to me through private message or in live chats. It means so much, and I say it. I just, there are no words to say how thankful I am for those that gave to the GoFundMe, and if you didn't and you shared it, that helped. So I want to do an appreciation kind of video for all the creators that, like Zod, and
Oh
some others that
gosh.
drop the link. They let me drop the link, and it just, you guys have gotten me through it, and this is continuing to get me through it. It takes my mind off of it. I have a good time, and so I'm gonna make a thank you sort of video. I got to get it all squared away in my head. And then it'll just be normal stuff like whatever's pissed me off that day or whatever's made me happy that day. I'll make videos like that. But I appreciate everyone that lets me come on panel. I know I'm not a big channel and I have like 5 videos, I think, out there. But doing these lives with you guys is just awesome. It gives me like an exhilarating feeling. It's like, I found what I want to do. And so I appreciate you guys, but that's what I'll be working on. Thank you.
Not a problem. All right, Mr. Zod, what are you working on?
Oh gosh. First off, how the hell am I supposed to follow that heartfelt thing? And I'm gonna do a shameless promotion. Why the fuck am I at the end of this? No.
I'm sorry.
No, Fanta. I just want to say, it's not an issue, and we're a community, and that's what we're here for. I know people got me through rough shit, and if I could pay that back by helping out someone else, I mean, even retweeting it doesn't take any time, and I'm really glad we get you through that. But anyways, if you guys don't know, it's the most earth-breaking, ground-shaking, but never media show money-taking, the man, the myth, the legend, the most electrifying villain in all of YouTube entertainment today. And I've got 2 videos I'm currently going through editing hell with. One is a trailer reaction to Gully, and it's quite funny because, boy, this movie. I can't wait to put it with me under the algorithm because it'll get some traction, because not a lot of people have. People don't give a shit about Amber so much that I literally got this in my notifications from another content creator telling me to react to it. So, thanks for that. And so I did a video on that, and I recorded my video for Patriots Day. I'm just seeing how the editing works out. It's for you, Planet Q's Queen, and I just want you to know it's a 15-minute video. So I'm trying to edit it down slightly because I had so much to say, because I haven't seen the movie again in like 2 or 3 years since I last saw it. I think it was on television that I saw it before. I saw it in theaters when it first came out. And so, yeah, it was a 15-minute video. So that should tell you how much literal praise I heap on this movie, and I break down a couple of things. I got that coming out, and then I'm going to do my Friday night late night talks with the gang, and Saturday with Father Zod, and then there's going to be a Cruella de Vil review, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. We're going tonight, so we're going to do a just bitching, and me and Bitchy will tell you what we think about this film, and you guys can hear our review. So you can decide whether or not you want to go or don't. From what I hear, high hopes, but from what I hear, not just from critics, but from actual people I trust, it isn't half bad. So here's to hoping. I love Cruella de Vil and I love Emma Stone. That seems like a really good casting for me. So, and I heard Emma Thompson is really good too. So here's to fucking hoping.
Yeah.
All right.
Cross our fingers for you.
Thank you, because I'm going to see it tonight. So,
all right. Well, guys, that is going to be it for this evening. I wanted to say thank you to all of the guys for showing up during a holiday. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Memorial Day. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye.